Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Cult Cinema 83, and this is episode 19 of the Cult Cinema podcast. And as you can see, I'm once again joined by my buddy TVNASH, Steven, of course. Steven, how are you? Welcome back. And how have you been?
I'm fine, bud. I'm fine. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. We started a little bit later, like 4 minutes later. I had like a very bad frog in my throat. I had to get it out of there.
Oh man!
Otherwise, I couldn't talk. So it's like it is what it is. But
yeah.
No, apart from that, I'm good. I'm very good, and I'm very excited to do this one because today we are going to talk about a very interesting director that you actually suggested for once. So that's very cool. Of course, we're going to talk about Umberto Lenzi. And before we go into the movies that we are going to talk about, can you share with me and the audience, of course, like what is your relationship with Umberto Lenzi in regard to the Italian Euro industry, and like how did you discover his movies?
Well, it's interesting actually. It was 2007 or 8, I believe. Actually, I was really just starting to, get into college at the time, and I had seen Sergio Solima's The Big Gun Down, and became a huge fan of Tomas Milian. So I started seeking out, almost everything he was making at the time, and one I had picked up on DVD, which I no longer have, is Almost Human.
Oh yeah, Almost Human. There you go. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I'm like seeing this at like 19 at the time, and I'm still not sure if I was totally ready for how violent it was at the time.
Oh yeah.
Because, holy, it's brutal as hell, man, and, but I really did dig the director. I remember, after finally finishing the film, I started watching the one special feature. It was this retrospective documentary. It had Lenzi in there. It had Ernesto Gestaldi and the two actors who played Milian's cohorts in the film. They had this kind of like round table style interview, and I did like hearing Lenzi speak on the film, how he was doing every thing. And then I didn't think about him for a whole lot of years, and then I started, and then I learned Rome, Armed to the Teeth, aka like The Tough Ones, was finally coming out. I had heard it was a must see of the genre of Euro crime, and then I just, I really started liking what he was doing, and then I got into his Giallis, his Euro crimes. Which is how I mainly view him. I view him as a thriller director and an action director, and it just it really irks me actually, that he is seen as a horror filmmaker when he didn't really do like that many horror films.
No. I mean, I think he did like he did 3 cannibal films, I believe: Man from Deep River, and
Right.
Eaten Alive, and Cannibal Ferox.
Right.
And I believe he made like 1 like TV horror movie in the 90s, I think it was. But apart from that,
yeah, he did. Like he made 2 actually. He made 2.
Oh yeah. But apart from that, he's not like your typical horror director in the Italian like cinema era.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah. It's I have a very interesting perspective on Umberto Lenzi, and I want to give you my take and see how you feel about it. I think if you look at the Italian European cinema overall, it's like, you have, when you look at Dario Argento or Fernando Di Leo or Sergio Martino, even, or people like that, Mario Bava. I mean, those are the very stylistic, artistic filmmakers. Even when you talk about a personal favorite of mine, Ruggiero Deodato, even like his whether you like them or not, but his cannibal films are very artistic in nature.
Okay.
And so you have all of these artistic directors and stuff, and I feel like, and this is just me, but I feel like Umberto Lenzi is kind of like the pulpy director who makes sort of like he takes what other directors have done and make it into basically like mainstream popcorn entertainment.
Oh.
Yeah, like, I mean, they don't, a lot of them don't take themselves too seriously. There's a certain fun factor to a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like Umberto Lenzi has like a much more like pulpy quality about him. It also has to do with how he would often copy from his colleagues,
Right.
Stuff. And so I think he's a good director, but I think he's like different from, for example, a Sergio Martino, where Sergio Martino is maybe more artistic, and Umberto Lenzi is more into like making entertainment for a massive audience, so to speak. Does that make sense? And how do you feel about that take?
It does to a degree. I mean, I never actually noticed it until you brought it up. Actually, like actually until now, but I can sort of see it in a way. I mean, I let's see. I either read something he said in an interview or saw it somewhere where he said, he always viewed himself as like, an anarchist in his own way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I actually kind of like thinking on it now. I kind of see him as like the Mickey Spillane of Italian cinema. Like he does stuff that's for the audience, but does it in his own way.
Right.
That like makes it him.
Right.
I mean, so I mean, I mean, like some of his like car stunts are quite good in the films. So I think like in terms of like a set piece guy, he he does really well there.
Right. No. He definitely has his own flavor. I absolutely. He has his own finesse in these films. He brings his own sort of sensibilities to it. And he makes it his own, but still, like you can't really escape the fact that he is sort of like copying from colleagues of his, like that you showed Almost Human, like that has always been like my big negative with Almost Human, is that like the car chase at the start of the movie is basically all copied from other movies. It's like
Hey.
if you are going to make a movie with, why don't you shoot your own car chase? That's like what is that? Why? That's that has always been kind of puzzling to me, how he, and it's in other genres as well, but that has always kind of like been puzzling to me. It's like, why did you feel the need to take inspiration from your other colleagues? But you're definitely right that he has his own sensibilities, and his movies have they do have their own identity for sure. Yes, I agree with that. So but it's it's a very interesting director. So and he made tons of movies, so that's a good thing. And today we are going to talk about two of them, of course. We are going to talk about his Giallo, So Sweet, So Perverse, and Freehand for a Tough Cop. That's the movies that we decided on, anyway. Right. And so I'll ask you, which movie do you want to start with, actually?
Let's start with Freehand for a Tough Cop, because I think So Sweet, So Perverse has the more, interesting, twisty turny stuff that like just like feel main eventing to me.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So I have a synopsis here. I'm going to try to read it. They're very small letters for Freehand for a Tough Cop. Anyway, so Freehand for a Tough Cop introduces Tomas Milian's Monetza, aka Garbage Can, in a movie that is led by Inspector Sarti, played by Claudio Cassinelli, of course. A low-life criminal with deep roots in the criminal underworld. The unlikely duo team up in hopes of retrieving a sick girl that has been kidnapped by an infamous mob boss. That's kind of like, that's kind of what it is. So Freehand for a Tough Cop. Of course, this was released in 1976, I believe it was. I mean, a Poliziotteschi movie, of course, or a Eurocrime, as you like to call it. So before we go into positives and negatives and stuff, since you suggested this, let me throw it over to you. What are some of your general thoughts on Freehand for a Tough Cop?
Well, it's a very interesting film to me, because Milian, like, this was actually his second time playing Monetza. Actually, I believe he did a film prior to this playing that character with Luke Marenda playing like the cop.
Right.
Cop. But Monetza is interesting because, he's a crook, but he's a very likable crook.
Yeah.
Crook, my dad would describe him, as a second story guy, like someone who would just, steal and just leave, he wouldn't try to do anything else. He was just looking to live.
Right.
So it's interesting, seeing him play like that type of character. And also, I actually wasn't super crazy about Claudio Cassinelli playing the cop here. I just, and this is also a negative for me too. He, his expression almost always was, a guy who had constipation. He just had this scowl on his face. He either needed, just have a good, boxing session in the ring. Ring or something, or needed some type of leg relief. Everything I've seen him in so far, he's never smiled in anything. thing, and just has this like permanent scowl on his face.
Yeah, he's not a very well. I'm sure he's probably a happy actor, but he doesn't really get like happy roles or whatever. It's kind of like I don't know, or maybe it's the way he plays it. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, You definitely have a point there. I mean, I've liked him in certain movies better, for sure. But yeah, he is kind of like stale in this one. Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure I will get to Thomas Milian in a bit, of course. But yeah, I mean, I think for me this is like. I really like this film a lot. This is actually always like one of my, for some strange reason, this is always one of my like go-to Poliziotteschi's. Whenever whenever I don't know like what should I watch tonight, like Eurocrime wise, it's like I'll just put Freehand for a Tough Cop on, because that's always a good time. And so it's kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like sort of like a laid back movie for me. It's like it's kind of fun in that regard, because it's not as heavy as, like, for example, a Silent Action is, or a Tony Arzenta or whatever. Those are very heavy Poliziotteschi's with like very sad and downbeat sort of narratives. I feel like this is much more, I don't want to say optimistic, because again there is like a dying girl involved, dying little girl. But there is a certain amount of
lightness, probably.
Lightness to it. Lightness to it. That would be a good way to describe it. There's a certain lightness to this film that I really appreciate, and it's just you can just have fun with it, and that's the but I actually really like it. It's actually quite good in my opinion. So, but since we're already talking about it, let's just dive into it. Let's start with positives. What are your positives for Freehand for a Tough Cop?
Well, first off, like, would be Milian's performance. I'm like, he does great. I'm like, as this crook, who does have a conscience, like, like there are certain things he will absolutely like not do, like, anything like, in like involving like kids or women. He tries to avoid like the plague, so there's like, him, like just, like being, a decent guy who unfortunately, got, involved in the, like wrong side of the tracks, tracks. Let's see. Henry Silva, he's at some of his baddie best in this one. Like one, like, I mean, like, he's just the ultimate, like scowling, like, I'm like, eye sneering the villain.
Right. Yeah, I think I thought about this on rewatching it actually yesterday. In a lot of ways, Henry Silva's character reminds me a lot of Renee Belloc in this movie.
Really?
Because of the eyes. Like,
okay.
You have like Renee Belloc does in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He just has these eyes that are just piercing. Like, the way he looks at people is like so frightening.
Like,
it's really like you feel like he doesn't even need a gun. He can just kill people with his look. Like he's like really he has a certain demeanor about him in that way. But he's like, he's really great at being the villain, and like you said, an absolute piece of shit in this one. It's so nasty, and like kidnapping a sick child. I mean, like that's low hanging fruit. That's like that's the lowest you can stoop to. That's the lowest thing you can do.
Oh man,
yeah. It's
man,
really,
oh, man.
It's so bad. But he plays it very well. You wouldn't say so, because in the scene where he's introduced in the bar, he has a very calm look to him and stuff, and like there isn't a lot of threat there. But then you go to the milk factory, and it's like, this guy is totally whack.
Oh man,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Henry Silva is fantastic. But you already addressed it. Let's just Tomas Milian. Oh my God, he is one of the best actors in this industry that we are fans of, and and every character he plays or has played, it feels so different and original. Like his characters never feel the same in any way. Whether you talk about Rienzi in Silent Action, or Chaco in The Four of the Apocalypse, or Cuchillo in, like you said, Big Gun Down, the Hunchback, of course, who has a very interesting history with this film, even though we don't know it yet. By the way, isn't that funny that the Hunchback and we're spoiling anyway? Isn't it funny that the Hunchback and Monezza are brothers? Like, two characters that you would never assume that they are related or whatever.
Like, well, technically, he's a different Hunchback in that film. Because the other guy, is like outright killed in The Tough Ones. So technically, they're not like the same, because I felt like that Hunchback, in a Brothers Till We Die, he was a little more like humane. Like, he only really went after the guys, who screwed him over.
Right. But I mean, Umberto Lenzi has never really stated that, right? I mean, is Brothers Till You Die, is that a sequel to The Tough Ones, or is it a prequel? I'm not sure. I don't think he ever said, did he?
I don't know. I mean, I always heard him say it was kind of like, a sort of companion piece, he was taking, like, two of Milian's really popular characters of the time, and he was putting them together, in the same film.
Right. But it's very interesting. They couldn't be more different, like, brother-wise, and it's so funny to see that. But the Hunchback, of course, but and of course you showed it already, which I think is still his best role. Giulio Sacchi in Almost Human.
I
mean, powerhouse performance. I think that's for me, that's his best role that he's ever played. It's but he plays Monezza in this film, of course, or Garbage Can, as you would like to call it, which is very ironic, because he seems to live in like a garbage belt or whatever. It's like that. So But it's funny. I always call his character in this movie the criminal teddy bear, because
his hair, right? His hair, right?
No, because you should feel like you're hating this guy,
right?
Because he's a criminal, but he's like the Milian plays it in such a way. It's like, is this guy really evil? Because Monezza is the best. Like, he's like so awesome. It's like, it's, and like you said, he probably got mixed up in this whole stuff by accident or whatever. He even tells Sarti at the start of the movie, like, he wants to go back to prison. Because he feels like he belongs there more than he does in the real world. Like, how bizarre! That's so bizarre to me, really.
Oh man,
that's So it's so funny. But he's really, like you said, he's really he definitely won't go to certain places like Hurting Woman or whatever. There is a very I find that scene very lovely. There's a little scene where Monezza has found the little girl, the sick kid, and he does these like funny faces, like woo, and then the girl starts laughing and stuff, and he sort of like uplifts her spirit and stuff.
Yeah.
That is such a wonderful scene.
Oh, it is. It is.
And it's like Monezza, how can you be a criminal? Really?
Yeah.
So do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I do. And like and that actually reminded me of the line he says in Run Man Run. Like in the dubbing, he says, "If I was born in another country in another time, I'd have only used a knife to cut bread."
Right. Yeah. He throws that kind of back in there. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. He trained under Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio in New York,
Right.
and he said in an interview, he said Strasberg told the class once, if Tomas can't say a line, it's not Tomas, it's the line.
Right. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel that way with like all actors. I mean, you don't just have to play the role. You have to become the role.
Right.
And if you are really invested, then you can become someone else, and sort of change in that sort of way where you're becoming a different person, sort of. And I feel like Thomas Milian had that in spades. He's like,
oh yeah,
really. He might have not been the most easy person to work with, as Umberto Lenzi has said many times already. But specifically when it came to him and of course his working relationship with Maurizio Merli, of course. I mean, we all know how that worked out.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Thomas Milian is great. He's absolutely great, and I would say that he's probably the star of this movie.
Yeah.
Because the let's go to the main character. Like the main character, Sarti, of course, Commissioner Sarti, played by Claudio Cassinelli. I do feel like he's a very, he's your typical honorable, clear-cut sort of police officer that gets thrown into this and stuff like that. And you know what? Like on his own, he's not that interesting of a character. But when he has scenes together with Monezza, I really like the camaraderie between him and Monezza that they have.
Yeah.
The sort of banter back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, how do you look at that?
Well, it's that is interesting because Sardi actually does say early on in the film, the only reason he's really in that area on that particular case is because certain people, either in Rome or wherever, didn't like how he did things.
Right.
So he does kind of imply, he's a cop who doesn't play completely by the rules, but also isn't breaking those rules as well. Or at least like not breaking them severely.
Right. Yeah. Well, I have one thing to say about that, and I'll talk about that later. But you definitely get the impression that he hasn't always followed the code, so to speak.
Yeah.
That he has made certain mistakes. And in a way, I think that's why Monezza is sort of like attracted to him. Like, oh, you have gray areas there, It's like, sort of that. But I really like that camaraderie. That's a very interesting chemistry there. So, what else do you have? Like, what other things do you like about this movie?
Well, I do like the kind of reverse Lenzi does, because the previous film, Silva and Milian, onward, Milian played this horrible piece of shit villain, and Silva was the I'm a upright cop, who makes the ultimate sacrifice to stop him, and here he switches it to where Milian's the good guy, and Silva's this punk bad guy,
Yeah.
So I liked that, and I liked the crew that that is actually built up to help stop Silva's villain. You've got Claudio Undari, aka Robert Hunter, Giuseppe Castellano. Those are just two of the quintessential secondary regulars, of the of the Italian cinema of the 60s and 70s. I mean, they just offer great support. I've actually always preferred Castellano because he looked like he'd been a boxer in a previous time. He just had that worn face, not that Robert Hundar wasn't as good, but just for some reason in the 70s when he grew his hair out a bit, when he shaved off his facial hair, he looked weird to me afterwards.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I wrote that down, but isn't it funny that all the Brescinelli's henchmen, like you mentioned, and I always forget their names for some reason. It's really bizarre, but isn't it hilarious? Brescinelli's henchmen are basically the thugs in the henchmen thugs in every single Euro crime film.
Yeah.
Every single time these guys keep popping up again and again and again. It's really the six main thugs or whatever.
Oh man, again, Italy was like Hollywood in that they you had that stable of regular guys who you could have shoot maybe 2 or 3 scenes in 5 films a day.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Of course, yeah. They can just run from one set to the other and just do whatever they do, and but
yeah.
But I actually noticed this at when I was rewatching it now, and I noticed that with pretty much all of the Poliziotteschi is for some strange reason the henchmen or the thugs, they are always the worst of the worst.
Oh man!
But they are even worse pieces of crap than the main villain is.
Oh man!
They just do the most horrible stuff.
Oh god! Yeah. Oh god! Yeah. I mean, especially that punk who fakes having a cold and then uses the box to what the brick just smashing people's faces in, and I'm geez, are you that desperate?
Yeah.
That you're gonna actually hide a brick in a tissue box and just just slam in someone's face.
Right, but they seem a little incompetent because first of all, it's not even a bank; it's a movie theater. Which is how much money do you think there is going to be there? Really?
Geez.
By the way, there is. I'll get back to that, but there is a very nice inside joke of there is a poster of Salon Kitty in the a Nazi exploitation poster right there.
Oh my God.
and the kid actually asks the like the woman at the counter, like, is this rated R? It's so funny.
Oh man, yeah.
Like, what do you expect? What do you expect that to be? But again, like, how many money do you think there's? But then, of course, he hits the brick and stuff, and then he just like crawls over and he just grabs whatever he can, and then they run out of the movie theater, and the second after that, they're already chased by like 5 police officers. It's like, how incompetent are these people? It's really
oh man, yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
No, it's really but yeah, the side actors and stuff are really great as well. They always have like basically they always play the same kind of like thug or bad guy or whatever, but they are just a lot of fun to watch. You just every movie you just can't wait for them to be gunned down by the hero. Which is it's really great. But speaking about that, I want to add like a new positive, because I think the action scenes in this movie are very solid.
Oh yeah.
I think there are no like big car chases or whatever, but there are like plenty of shootout moments, like big shootout moments.
Yeah.
And I think this movie actually has some very solid action moments here. My favorite is the climax, of course, in the like the house. Of course. Where the girl is being held, of course. But also, again, another thing, how many movies has that particular house been in?
Like
it's like one of the no pun intended. It's like one of the household marks or whatever. It's like been in a Western. It's been in like, I think it was in Syndicate Sadists as well, right? I mean, like, what is it about that house that makes it so like interesting?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not, like maybe somebody saw it, like, and thought it was a really, like nice looking house, like it was like tall enough to like have like fights happen on the first floor, second floor, etc. And it is a very like unique looking house, I think, too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's very interesting that like I noticed this time that the house takes a little bit of inspiration from that one scene, I feel like, in the Bird with Crystal Plumage, where you have the house where you have to like reach the front door by stairs. And here there is like one concrete stairs, like going all the way up the top right there. Right. So the attic, what you assume is the attic, is the living room. And below that is basically all like what do you call it, basement or whatever. It's so weird. It's really weird.
Oh man, yeah.
The architecture is pretty interesting there. So but I think I think the easy thing about this movie is that most of this movie takes place in Rome.
Yeah.
And is actually shot in Rome. And actually, we talked about it last time in the previous podcast about Dick Maas,
right?
Because recently he has said that the reason he loves to do all of his movies in Amsterdam is because he lives there, and basically all his locations are right around the corner.
Right.
And I feel like this movie has that to its advantage, because of course the movie studios are in Rome, so they basically can just start driving, and like it would take like 10 minutes to get to a location or whatever. So I assume that made production very easy for this one.
Oh yeah. Like, well, I mean, for the car chases, it was tougher. I mean, when Deodato, for example, made live like a cop die like a man. Like he admitted in an interview that most of those chases were actually done without like permits. So he'd have to have like Remy Julian in the car, and then have him just like pull away, as soon as like someone called the cops, and and they started showing up. So I mean, I think like permits for like those chases were actually the hardest part of making them.
Right. Well, because if you want to drive a bike into a coffee shop and wreck some tables, I mean that's probably gonna ruffle some feathers there.
Yeah.
No, a lot of those were done on the dime basically, and just like very early in the morning or late in the afternoon when the traffic wasn't as like crowded and stuff. Those scenes are tough, but. You talk about live like a cop, die like a man. I mean, like I said, the artistic nature of it. I mean, give it to Ruggiero Deodato for like, hey, I'm gonna make a chase scene in my movie, but I'm not. Instead of the endless car chases, I'm gonna have a motorcycle chase.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love that chase scene. That is so good.
Yeah.
It's great. That chase scene is so good. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean. I guess driving through a city and wrecking some stuff with a car or a motorcycle, that wouldn't sit too well with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be. I guess that would be tricky. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, overall, I think the action in this movie is very solid. So what else do you have? Like do you have more positives on this movie?
Just the overall, like, cinematography, like usage of Rome itself, seeing the, like city, seeing, the more country side, I mean, like, it's like looking back, back at a time capsule, because I'm sure a lot of the places, like there then aren't there anymore now, so it sort of satisfies the history, like guy in me too. So
right. Well, yeah, you're definitely right that these movies are kind of like a time document, because like you said, I mean, Rome is probably a lot more modernized now. So, I mean, one day I would like to go to Rome and try to find all of these locations and stuff. That would be fun. But maybe a lot of them don't even exist anymore. Who can tell? But I mean, it's definitely like a time document because, like you said, I think Rome has had a lot of modernization. And it's just, I guess, unavoidable, I guess. But now the scenery is great, the cinematography. And I want to add to that, to the cinematography. I really love the score in this movie. The soundtrack is great, I feel like. And I looked it up, and the soundtrack is done by Bruno Canfora. And I was actually, I'm unfamiliar with his work, really. I think this is the only soundtrack that I've heard from him, so I might have to do a little research there. But his themes work very well for a Poliziotteschi, I feel like. And we even get a bit of a spaghetti western music vibe to it at the start of the movie. Which again goes into like, I feel like Umberto Lenzi built in like these inside jokes or whatever. When it starts with a spaghetti western, and then it pans out and it's the prisoners who are watching the spaghetti western. And I love the comment from like the one guy who's sitting there, like, who even watches this shit anymore?
Oh my god, yeah.
That's like, I was like, Umberto Lenzi, like, did you put some social commentary in there, like that the westerns were kind of done? I think that was kind of like a subtle stab.
Yeah.
To, like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, like, I actually thought that was a really impressive scene when I first watched it. Like, let's see, it was either it was either last year or 2 years ago. I saw it for the first time, and I thought that was a very cool trick he did.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, because like you're thinking, like, hold on a minute, like, isn't this supposed to be, a like a modern, cop uh, film, and
Yeah.
then and then it switches to it's actually this movie being watched by a bunch, guys in jail.
Yeah, yeah, very fun. Well, it's interesting that you say that because I felt that way when I was watching it for the first time. Because I'll just show it right here. I don't know which version you watch, but I have the this one from Fractured Visions, I believe.
I have both. Yeah, I actually have both.
Oh yeah, no, I have the other one as well. Yeah, I have the other one as well. But I watched this one right now. So, but I remember watching it for the first time. And I thought, like, did I buy the wrong movie? Because, like, this is a spaghetti western. Like, what?
Really? Yeah, like, hold up a minute here. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it, like, turns around and it's like, oh, there you go. I see what you did there. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I think that's a very I think that's a very clever way to open the film. It's very misleading, so yeah, it's very interesting. So, but yeah, I think, like I said, I think the score is great as well. So,
yeah.
So, I think I have pretty much run through all of my positives here. Do you have like any more positives on Freehand for a Tough Cop?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good on that one too. Actually.
Okay, fair enough. Because I do have well, not negatives. I do have like two slight issues with this film that I want to address here, and we can go into like your negatives later if you want. But I would like to start with negatives. Okay.
Okay.
So I have two basically, and the first one is kind of going into what you already addressed, because it deals with Commissioner Sarti. The thing is, they never really explain to the audience as to why Sarti was exiled to Sardinia in the past. They never really like relate to the audience like what actually happened there.
Yeah.
They just said like, oh, he did a bad thing, so he had to go to Sardinia. And I have always this rule of show don't tell.
Right.
And I would have liked and needed a little bit more intel on that one there. I don't need like a full exposition dump, but just a little bit more as to like why Sarti was basically removed from his position or whatever. And they brought him back because they needed him on this. But I would have needed and liked a little bit more intel on that. Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, like same. Like, I actually, the first time I saw it on the UK Blu-ray, I just assumed like either he roughed up like one too many persons of interest, or maybe accidentally like had to kill somebody, but like, yeah, I mean, a like moderate flashback would have been interesting to like have in, because they had actually done something similar in the Tomas Milian film Squadra Volante. I mean, like where like his partner like mentions an event that kind of hurt his career a little bit, and and then like you see in a flashback, like him gunning down two suspects who were armed and were who were armed, but like actually started to like to run away, and he shoots him in the back.
Right. Yeah. No. Well, something like that. I would have preferred that. I would have wanted that in the film. Something like that. And again, it doesn't have to be like a 15-minute flashback or whatever, but like a little bit. Just give me a little bit, because I feel like Sarti is kind of like an unsolved mystery in this one.
Yeah.
By the time you reach the end of the film, he's still a sort of unsolved mystery. Is that really a smart idea for your main protagonist? I don't know. It's
I mean, I actually have the same issue on some of Hitchcock's films, because he had this obsession with the MacGuffin. He was always the audience doesn't need to know that this. To me, that's the director or the writer even saying the audience is stupid, or
right.
Or isn't gonna notice. But I mean, I would get that, frustrating lack of stuff from Hitchcock a lot, and I love Hitch.
I love Hitch. Absolutely.
But that whole thing just bothered the hell out of me. I mean, it doesn't bother me too much on Sardi, because I really wasn't invested in Cassinelli. I'm too much, and don't get me wrong. He was probably a very, fine and loved actor in his day, but he just I don't know if it's how Lenzi said play him, or just his own choices, but he just he just comes off as this cold fish who needs to excise some demons out of him.
I agree with that. Absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know what it is with Claudio Cassinelli. Is he just directed that way? I don't know. I don't know for sure. But yeah, like you said, I mean, you don't have to treat the audience like they are dumb, but just fill in the blanks just a little bit, and just give me a little bit. That's all I'm asking. So that's just something that's bothering me. But that's it's a small thing, really. The second thing is a little bit bigger, though. Okay. And I'm curious how you feel about this. About Brescianelli, right? The main villain, Henry Silva. Right. I always felt like there was a bit of a flaw in Brescianelli's plan, because I'm just gonna say it. He kidnaps a dying child.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So. And that's very nasty and evil and stuff. So in that way, it's good. It's good. You want to hate him, so that's good. But I thought about this on rewatching it, and I was kind of having this conversation with Brescianelli, and I was like, so you kidnap a dying child, but when the kid passes away and you don't have your reward yet, then what are you gonna do?
How
does that work, really? I mean, have you really thought about that? Because I mean, the kid is dying, so for all you know, he could be dead after 2 days, and you don't even have your money yet. So. And again, I get it that Brescianelli is a very sick and nasty dude, but still, it's like, don't you see the fault in your own idea there? How does that really work?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I can totally see that. Like now, like now that you've mentioned it, I mean, it should have been a continuity, error on the script writers, part. I mean, to a certain extent, I would kind of think that that like that it just didn't matter to him that I know that she needed. That's like like medicine, for her like for her condition, or he doesn't know prior to actually kidnapping her, and then finds out, and it's sort of okay, how am I supposed to get her medicine if every cop in the country is looking for? Um, like for so it's either he just doesn't care, period, or he's now in like between a rock and a hard place. Like he's like dangling from the tree, like tiger. Like I don't know, tigers in the like top section, and the lions at the bottom. Like he's like stuck now. Yeah, I always took it as like he just didn't care. As long as he got his money.
Right, right. I always I always go for the first option as well, because there are like a lot more kids in the world. So if this plan fails, he's probably gonna kidnap another one.
Yeah,
so
probably.
I mean, he probably doesn't even care. But if you implement the second one, like you said, rock in a hard place and stuff like that, you would think that he would still like be worried about but the money was kind of like my retirement plan. So, and if the kid dies, then I have nothing. So it's like that has to. So I always lean more into the first option myself as well. Like he just doesn't care, and if this plan fails, he will just kidnap another kid and extort another family. So but it feels kind of off.
I hear you
in that way. So so those were my two negatives or issues for the film. Do you have any issues with the film? You already mentioned one, but
right, oh yeah, it kind of actually bothered me how Brescinelli buys it. How Brescinelli buys it in the and because this like whole shootout's taken place, and instead of being killed by Sardi, who wants to take him down, or by accident by Milia, and he's he's shot up by Robert Hundar's character, who then turns around and says, "Hey, I'm taking over."
Right.
Over. Like I mean, like that just felt very anticlimactic. It's so me, I mean, it was not the satisfying end to this brutal, horrible guy. Like I would have expected.
Right. Well, it's a good thing that you addressed that, because I have thought about this. And do you know what I would have loved to see?
Oh, what?
Because we see Monezza, like when he finds the kid and he plays that sort of face game with her and stuff like that, and so you can tell that he likes kids and he's attracted to, well, not attracted, but he's like
he's fond of them.
Yeah, he's fond of kids and stuff. And so I would have loved to see like when he tries to take her out of the house or whatever, and he finds Brescinelli on his way. And I would have loved like Monezza to have kind of like a line of like, you tried to hurt a kid, and then have Monezza kill him.
Oh, I'd have loved that. Yeah,
that would have been so good.
That would have been perfect. Like like and if such yeah, and if somebody was to, like say like, hey, he just shot and killed him, I'd have been like, nope, he executed him.
Yeah. So that would have been really good. And I don't. Yeah, I mean, Brascinelli's death really feels anticlimactic. You're right about that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm sure this was in the script, but did they just not think of another ending for him? Or was it a creative choice by Lenzi? I don't really know for sure. But you're right about that one. It is a bit like anticlimactic, and like I said, when I think about it, I was like, that would have been awesome if that would have been like the death of Brascinelli. But it is what it is. So, but yeah, I mean, so do you have more issues with the film?
Well, I mean, the only other nitpick, is for me the like Robert Hunter character, in general, because like I had this feeling, from the first of watching this, I'm like, I'm not really vibing Hundar's guy here, he's he's the he's the like Los Cannon here or whatever. I mean, I just expected him to just start to shoot everybody I'm like crazy. I mean, I honestly hadn't expected him to shoot like Silva's character, and and then announce he's going to take over the operation.
Right.
So I mean, just like something just didn't hit right, and that annoyed me. That like Sardi isn't more, on his guard on Hundar's character.
Yeah, that felt a little off.
Yeah,
because like you said, what's the name of the thug again? I forgot.
I thought it was the Calabrese, but that was the like shorter guy.
Yeah, that was shorter guy. Yeah, well. Anyway, Robert Hunbar's character right there. He tries to kill Sardi like 6 times or whatever throughout the film, and so you're right. It feels a little like Sardi should be more on his guard with that, and he sort of plays fast and loose with that. I can see where you're coming from for sure. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah. But I mean, I love how he's like you said, how Robert Hunbar is like you said, a loose cannon throughout the film. Yeah. He's very unpredictable. You never know what he's gonna do. So that's really cool. But yeah. So do you have anything else for Freehand for Tough Cop?
I like not really a negative, but I actually found this interesting in a way. Because I've actually watched both discs. Of the film.
Yeah.
The film, and I noticed that in the British version, they use a lot of slang that's that's quintessentially British. That's not in the Severin edition. So I just I always found that difference a little intriguing.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't watched the Severin films one yet. I have it, so I'm gonna watch it in the future, of course, but I haven't watched it yet. But that's interesting. I mean, do you think that is because Severin is not a British label?
Oh, sure, of course.
I mean, do you think there is a thing about censorship involved there, or
probably not. I mean, it would I mean, I think it's just more tailored to how the people who do the translations would think the audience like ought to hear how like that they would speak
Right. Well, that's interesting because a while back I rewatched the Tough Ones again, and in the Italian version, the Hunchback makes sort of like a joke and insults like a gas station guy. Like
right.
I can't pronounce the Italian thing, but it's like ends with cazzo or whatever, or your dick or whatever, and because of something the guy asks the Hunchback.
Yeah.
And if you watch the British version, the dubbed one, that joke is completely gone.
Oy.
So that's
man,
it's kind of funny how that works, but it's maybe it's a translation thing. I'm not too sure, but
true.
It's kind of it's kind of bizarre how these like different versions are sort of working against each other in that way. It's a kind of kind of weird. But anyway, I watched for this one. I watched is there? I think there was like it's in Italian. I watched the Italian version on this. I just watched the original version. So but yeah, it's it's so I think I'm pretty much done with this one. Do you have anything more to add on Freehand for a Tough Cop?
I'm good.
Okay, so I guess we can go into ratings for this one. Would you like to start, or should I?
You start. It's your program, buddy.
Okay, fine, that's fair. Okay, so Freehand for a Tough Cop. Like I said, this is kind of like my comfort Poliziotteschi, as I would like to dub it. I can just put this on and have a fun time with it. Like you said, it has a certain lightness to it. You don't have to think as hard like you, for example, like you do in Silent Action or whatever. And it's just very fun to watch this one. You can have a really good time with this, and it's like it's like a summer blockbuster. It's like a fun action film, that you can just watch and have a good time with for like 92 minutes, I believe it is. I think it's really great. This is like kind of like my go-to Poliziotteschi a lot of the times, and I really appreciate it for what it is. And for that, I'm going to give Freehand for a Tough Cop an 8.5 out of 10.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I enjoyed, a lot too. I mean, like there are some things I had the issues with, but like overall, I had a lot of fun seeing it. I mean, like as you said, it's a good like laid back type of a film. So I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah, I mean this movie is just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun. That's all I can. That's that's the best thing I can. That's the best way I can describe it. It's just a lot of fun. So and it's it's good times. It's good times. But 7.5. No, that's a good rating for sure. So okay, that was Freehand for a Tough Cop. I guess we move on to our Giallo here. So Sweet So Perverse, released in 1969, so way earlier, of course.
Yeah.
I couldn't really find like a synopsis that like spoiled the whole movie. That's kind of like that's always this thing with these hypnosis. It's always like you spoil the entire film, really.
Oh my god, yeah.
But I think the best way to describe it, it's basically about this guy this husband who at some point or someday falls into like a conflict with a mysterious woman played by, well, you know who. We're going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think very soon he discovers that things are not all what they seem. I think that's a very good description for it. I think that's probably the safest bet right there. So Sweet So Perverse. This came very early in Umberto Lenzi's Giallo career, I believe it is. I think it's like his second or third one, I believe it is. I think so, yeah. So in that regard, it's a very interesting film. So let's just dive into it. As it is a Giallo, what are some of your general thoughts on So Sweet So Perverse?
Well, it has a very strong, first half, but I was actually kind of disappointed in the last 20 minutes. I mean, I felt like, I felt like that was like a perfect story in there that Gastaldi, in a very rare instance, because normally I love his stuff. I think he's one of the best, writers of the genre. I mean, I just I felt like he took an easy way out. I mean, it was there was something absolutely perfect there, and I don't, and I don't know if the studio doesn't trust his original idea. There's an interview or two and with him I still need to watch about it. But it's just, it's hard to explain. I sort of felt like he chickened out or something.
You're onto something there, because I have that you're reading my mind. So
Nice.
since you are on that, why don't we turn this around and start with negatives on this one? Because actually I have the same issue that you have. Let me go into this. Because like you said, we're doing negatives first. Like you said, I feel like the first and the third act, both acts, the first and the third, I feel like the first is much stronger, but I feel like both the first and the third act have some serious pacing issues.
The
first act, I really love the first act, like you said. It's really good. I love the story of that. Which I'm sure we're going to get to eventually, but even the first act, there are moments in the first act where it feels a little boring. And the third act, when you get to the third act is really dragging its feet, and it almost feels like you said, it almost feels like they didn't know how to get to the finish line with this one. And I don't know if it was, like you said, the script, or was this just Lenzi's direction? I have no idea. But there is definitely a problem there, for sure. So do you agree with that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I got into the film, the first viewing. I'm really digging, how it started, just how it started to progress. And then I get to let's say last 30 to 40 minutes. And some of it did work, I have to say.
Oh yeah.
But there were others I was like, couldn't they have come up with something stronger? I can't, fault Lenzi entirely, because like he didn't have involvement in the script. Like script. A script, like and less in terms of the actual like writing down of everything. I think so he was just like having to work with what he had.
Right. Right. No, he didn't write. He didn't. I believe he didn't write this one.
Yeah. So I mean, like I just I felt like there was an excellent twist involved in here that for whatever reason somebody either was too afraid to exploit or that they feared nobody would think it made sense.
Well, I feel like sorry to interrupt you, but I want to add to that because I feel like we already got the twist, and then they try to keep it moving, where usually the twist is kind of like give or take 10 minutes, but usually the twist is like the climax and the ending of the film with Giallos. So they try to keep it moving after the twist, which that's such a strange decision, right?
Yeah. I mean, I do think the twist kind of came a bit earlier than it like I don't normally would, because our like hero meets a very strange fate at the like I'll say maybe 50-minute to hour mark.
Right.
I mean, it would have worked better had they had a twist and a twist.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree. It's very the structure of this Giallo is really kind of peculiar, really.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know what it is, but it's definitely noticeable for sure.
Yeah.
And I have a second issue, if you allow me.
Okay.
I have a second issue, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this one. Because we are both big fans and lovers of the Giallo sort of genre, so to speak.
Right.
But I will say this: in my opinion, this is kind of a misleading movie because it presents itself as a Giallo, but I don't really think it is. Because I think it misses certain beats that the Giallo genre would have, and to me, this is much more of just a psychological and romantic drama. For example, it lacks the mystery element. At least there isn't a lot of it with the mystery element, and. I'm going back to like my sort of my gore lust. I mean, there aren't really like a lot of, if any, like kills in this movie as well. So I feel apart from one big one, but we'll talk about that. But I feel like this movie is just missing certain beats that you would expect from a Giallo. So I feel like this is as a Giallo, this is a very misleading film. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, nay, I think for me, because I mean, for me, the mystery was, like, why does this woman want to be around him?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like, like, why is she trying so hard to stay in his orbit, and I'm like, and why is she sort of, in this kind of weird league with this nutcase guy, if she really like wants to be rid of them, and like for me, like that was the mystery of the film. Like what was her like end game and all this.
Right. No, that makes sense. But what I mean by mystery is usually the mystery is usually like who's the murderer or whatever, right? And
right, yeah,
but it's revealed very soon who the well, not the murderer, but it's revealed very soon who the evil guy is. And
yeah,
he's not really like a shadowy figure, or he doesn't wear a mask or
yeah.
whatever. So that's more what I mean with like the mystery thing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, I actually think, looking back at it now, I'm thinking maybe they were trying for the, like long con deal, like, like they couldn't just do certain things and then just, I'm like a poof and take off. I'm like they had to really, play that's all out like it was gonna, take a while, to do.
Right. No, that could be that could be it. That could very well be it. That could be the case.
Yeah,
But it's yeah, I don't know. I just always found that puzzling somehow.
yeah,
That this anyway, for me anyway, it always feels like kind of like a misleading film in that way.
uh,
Um, but that's just me. So those are my like really big issues with it. So as we are on negatives, like what are your issues with this film, if you have any, really?
well, like, yeah, like the, twist kind of, had its errors to me, because I knew they were going for the, like long con and all this, like, I'm starting like to think they a lot like we're trying to have a genre, well, within the genre of the, like Giallo, like where it focused on, this, like sort of like psychological game. They had pulled it off with this other film, photos of a woman. Um,
Above suspicion.
yes, yes,
Oh, I love that one.
yes. Like I think they were trying to replicate that here,
Mm.
but just for whatever reason, it just, it didn't work as good as another, like film did. Cause like that's like also like, a long con Giallo, like where it's not so much like, how many people are getting like, killed off and why, you know, but like what's really the, end game and the like violence part, of all this, like, like what's his goal?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, they have proven that the psychological giallo can work. Like, you mentioned Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion. I love that film. It's so
yeah.
good. But also, and I discussed this with James from Poliziotteschi and Gialli reviews. Short Night of Glass Dolls. Um, have you watched it already or not?
Oh, like no. I'm actually saving up for the 4K for me. For me the 8. I mean, like that's more in my that one's more in my budget.
Right. Okay. Okay. There you go.
Uh,
But Short Night of Glass Dolls is very much a psychological giallo, and that movie is so good. So it has been proven that it can work. I just don't really know what happened here, but
yeah.
it is what it is. Um, do you have more issues with it or negatives?
Uh, yeah, actually, that are like, hero. If well, I'm like, if he can be called that, I'm like, he never catches on that, he's kind of like, the like, target slash victim and all
Mm,
this, like, he never figures it out, and then, he has like what happened to him, you know. And I'm thinking at first like something's gonna happen where, said thing didn't really happen to him, and now he's kind of, secretly turning the tables on them, and then I'm totally shattered finding out that's not the case.
Right. Well, I mean, I always chuck that up to like he's just too blinded by his love for Nicole. I think her name was, right, Carol Baker's Nicole. We'll talk about Carol Baker at length. Don't worry. We're gonna get to Carol Baker.
Yeah.
But I think he was just blinded by his love for Nicole in that extent. But you are right about like he is kind of like it almost feels like he's willingly ignorant in a certain way. And then in the of course, when that moment happens where he meets his ghastly fate, of course, then it's like, oh, now I see what's happening, but now it's too late because now I get stabbed to death. It's like, I don't know. It's and I'm not saying that he's a dumb character, but because I love him in the first half. There is kind of like an ignorant side to him, or like not wanting to see the truth or whatever. That I can imagine how that's frustrating for sure. Absolutely. I can see it's I can see whether, because I mean, Nicole, there are some like red herrings that like are happening along the way, where it's like you could have picked this up like very easily. And it's I don't know, it is it's one of those things. But yeah, it's I can see where you're coming from for sure. I can see where you're coming from. So I like I said, I only had those two big issues I had with it. Like, do you have more issues or negatives?
Well, not really a negative per se. It's more of like a frustration, and that's with the character whom Erika Blanc plays, Danielle. I mean, I sort of feel like there was like an uncertainty of where to take her character. I mean, I think to a certain degree, she was always meant to be like a Vera Clouseau in Diabolique, like Fragile, and then they were gonna to turn on her at some point as well. Or whatever, but I mean, I think they just flipped and flopped on her a bit too much.
Right. Well, I mean, that's where we differ a little bit, because Erika Blanc is actually one of my positives.
All right.
But we'll talk about Erika Blanc. We'll talk about it. But no, I mean, they do kind of flip flop near the end of the film. That's very true. Like they, like you said, there is a sort of indecisiveness as to like where are we going to take this character. That's there for sure. So I agree with that. And I think it happens after the sort of twist, and then they kind of like they are like, oh, now we're stuck with this character, and how are we going to resolve this sort of like that something. I do like how her character ends though. How she gets basically gets her comeuppance. Maybe that's a rough word, but I mean, she definitely gets something anyway. So but no, I can see where you're coming from. That it's her. I don't think that's Erika Blanc's fault though. I think that's I think that's more in the script and the character that she's playing. So maybe we should put the blame there. But no, I can definitely see where you're coming from with that for sure. So but yeah, I mean, speaking of Erika Blanc, before I go into my positives, Do you have any more negatives or issues with So Sweet, So Perverse?
I'm good there. I'm good there.
Okay, so I would like to start with positives then, if that's okay.
All right.
Because I want to talk about the acting.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to talk about positives now, okay? But
Okay.
the acting is superb in this film. I really want to give it that. The acting is
Yes.
so good. It's great. Like Jean-Louis Trintignant, of course, we know him as Silencio, of course, from The Great
Yeah.
Silence, for
Yeah.
example. Amazing actor, absolutely fantastic. And he is so great as like the humble and loyal the humble and loyal husband,
Yeah.
who, like I said, sadly falls into a trap of desire and almost like a need of acknowledgement, almost, when he wants to become basically Nicole's savior on the white horse, basically.
Yeah.
Because, and that's why, that's why I really love the first half of this movie, because you have this husband of a we'll talk about the wife, but you have this husband who is very humble and loyal and honest, and he comes across this woman Nicole, and he wants to help her so bad.
Yeah.
He wants to help her escape and get rid of this guy so badly that, like I said, he gets blinded by everything around him, and his love for Nicole, his newfound love, is just like, that's ultimately his downfall, kind of. But I really love Jean-Louis Trintignant as and the character as well. How do you feel about Jean-Louis Trintignant?
Oh yeah. I enjoy him as an actor as well. I mean, I think the only thing I've ever, had a negative about him overall as an actor is that he has too much of a poker face. Like, he smiles, and shows emotions, way too little, at times for me. But overall, he's a wonderful actor. And and he is also not so much the perfect husband, because before he meets Nicole, he's sleeping around with his buddy's wife, played
Right.
by played by Helga Linne.
Right. Well, that's, yeah, of course, that's true. I mean, he's not perfect or whatever, but still.
Yeah, but like, you sort of sympathize with him a bit after a while, because his wife's like, a cold fish. I mean, like, he wants to be loyal to her, but like, she's really not giving him any reason to be, like, as such. So yeah, he's sort of like starved, as you said.
Right. Well, I mean, to go into because like he's not perfect, of course, but I think, and I never want to justify cheating on anyone. I mean,
of course.
I mean, I sadly I experienced this myself with my ex. I mean, my ex and ended up in the bed of my best friend. So
Oh my God.
yeah, it is. Well, it is. It is what it is. It happens, but it's so I'm not justifying cheating in any way, but I mean, going beyond that, if you look at his wife, because Erika Blanc, first of all, Erika Blanc is phenomenal in this movie. She is so good, and I love Danielle. She plays Danielle, of course.
Yeah.
But Danielle is such a bitter and resentful and sort of arrogant wife.
Right.
What is there what is really there for Jean-Louis Trintignant's character to love?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. So, I mean, can we really blame him that he is starting to look for intimacy and love in other areas.
Yeah.
I mean, again, not justifying cheating, but
Well, of course.
if you have a wife that is so cold and distant,
Oh man,
I mean,
yeah.
that's like, I think that's a very tough spot to be in.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
how do you see that whole situation?
Similar, like yeah. I mean, he does say early on in the film, I know, that he was kind of also in there with, I mean, like money played a little bit of a role
Right.
there because she's supposed to be like very well off or something, like I know from a very, prominent family. I mean, I think he started out, he said he really started out loving her greatly, but then as he saw more of who she really was, he was like, "Oh my god, I'm a gigolo."
Yeah. Well, there is a moment where he doesn't say it out front, but he kind of makes a remark about that, where he's basically saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, I don't think she's like a wicked woman, but
No.
but like something happened there, like something happened to her at some point, and she's just been punishing this poor guy ever since, like for her own hang-ups.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, and you don't really get to know why she's like that, but you don't really need that anyway. It's she's just like, but going back to Danielle for a bit. I mean, first of all, like I said, Erika Blanc is great, but I love what they do with Danielle towards the twist, because then it's of course revealed that she had been in the whole game together with Nicole.
Yeah.
And that she actually is lovers with Nicole.
Oh yeah.
Which, maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's because he's a lesbian. We will never know. But maybe that's it.
Truly. Oh, truly. Yeah. I mean, when I saw them, like getting out of the bed together, but like in the all together, I was like, okay, like that kind of maybe, explains a little bit, a bit. Like she just prefers her own locker room.
Right. No, of course. Yeah, exactly. So maybe it's the frustration of being a lesbian. Maybe that's what it is. But
true.
But it's no. But as soon as the twist happens and that's revealed, I do love what they do with I love what they do with her in like the third act. Because after Jean-Louis Trintignant's character is of course stabbed to death by I forgot Hans, I believe it was Hans.
Horse Frank plays him.
Yes, exactly. They're accomplished, so to speak. But after he's stabbed to death by Hans, it's not Carroll or it's not Nicole, but it's Danielle who starts getting regrets.
Right.
And she is actually, you can see in her, and Erika Blanc plays this so great. You can see in her face that she feels sorry for what happened, and she is actually remorseful, and like she says she's asking, when she thinks she sees his character, she's asking for forgiveness.
Right.
So I love what they do here, because it seems like she wants to redeem herself. In that, so in a way, we kind of see the old Danielle there. I just don't like what they do with her after that. But that's what it is. But but I do love that part of the third act with Danielle.
Of course.
So yeah, and then of course, I mean, after Erika Blanc, we have to talk about it. The marvelous and gorgeous
Carol Baker.
Carol Baker, there she is. It's it's so interesting because Carol Baker came to Italy at a time in which her career in America was kind of like faltering and trimming down.
Actually, like that, like was not the case. She wanted like more, like sort of like like rich roles, but they were like constantly starting to give her these like these very like thankless parts, and she just finally had enough of it.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Like and said like, hey, like I really want to do this, like not that, and they just basically told her to take a hike, so she got on the first plane to Italy, and started to, I don't know, asking around for like like roles on the contract.
Oh, that's okay. Interesting. Oh, that's a story you don't hear a lot. Like I said, I've always heard the story of like that her career was like diminishing, but that's interesting. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, there are a lot of actors like that in the Italian industry that like went to Europe for that particular reason. So it makes sense. But Carol Baker, I mean, it's first of all, it should be said that first of all, an incredibly beautiful woman. Let's just say that up front. Absolutely stunning and so gorgeous. But she is such a powerhouse actress.
She is.
She is so great, and I think she did 5 Giallos with Lenzi and 1 with another guy, I believe it was. I think she did 6, right?
She did 4 with Lenzi. The studios wanted her for An Ideal Place to Kill, but Lenzi was afraid of getting pigeonholed as just being able to work with her in the genre, because she and Lenzi actually had a great friendship up until he passed away. He met her, I think, in like '68, and they just hit it off spectacularly, even with the like language barrier. I'm like, they just clicked, like as an actress and a director, and she kind of at times knew what he wanted before he did.
Right. No. Their friendship is very famous, of course. So yeah, that's why they, of course, they made so many films together. But but I think she did 1 with another guy as well, right? The Sweet Body of Deborah, I believe it was.
It was. Like that was, I think, Enzo G. Castellari's uncle, Romolo Giulieri.
Oh yeah. I think you're right about that. Yeah. So she did at least 5 of these Giallos, which is pretty great. But yeah, she did 4. Like you said, she did 4 with Lenzi, of course. And I mean, Carol Baker in this film is so masterful at making, she's sort of creating a kind and caring woman in distress here at the start of the movie. And throughout the film, you see her become this absolutely egotistical and arrogant and backstabbing con woman.
Oh my God, yeah.
It is so good. It's so good to watch. And just the way that Carol Baker plays it is just like, how do you feel about the character and how she plays it?
Yeah, like, oh man, I loved it. Like, I thought my favorite like reveal of who her character really is, my favorite wise, is her first film with Lenzi, Orgasmo.
Yeah.
The twist, perfect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah.
Yeah, I love.
Oh yeah, and and here it's not as spectacular, but it is
No.
still good.
Yeah.
I mean, like I mean, like she creates the perfect damsel in distress. And then slowly her true colors start to come out, and she's this, just like cold, black and a Black Widow type.
Right. Well, she has
Yeah,
kind of like she has kind of a gold digger vibe to her.
yeah,
But she plays it so brilliantly, and the thing is, her performance, she keeps it very much on the low
right,
throughout
yeah,
throughout the film. So even in her performance, she doesn't really show it or whatever. And then when you finally like reach the moment and stuff, and then it's almost like something explodes out of her,
right,
and it's just like it elevates her performance in such a way that it's
yeah,
like it's almost like it's coming off of the screen, irradiating off the screen,
screen, like,
and it's so good. And you're right. The twist isn't as brilliant as Orgasmo.
yeah.
I mean, Orgasmo is so good. It's so
Oh
good.
yeah, excellent.
It's so good. It's really good. But it's not as great as that twist, but it's still pretty brilliant, actually. I would say.
Oh
Um,
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, and like thinking back on it, I mean, like just how subtle she is and everything. I mean, like I can totally see how she was able to seduce both, Jean and in a sense Danielle to too. I mean, like like she's just very like voluptuous and beautiful. I mean, I'm like, how could like you not be smitten by her?
no, no, of course. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, that's always like one of the things that like that I take out of this movie. Every time I'm with Jean-Louis Trintignant, it's like I get it, I get it, I really
yeah,
do. I mean, I get. I mean, I. Why wouldn't you fall in love with some like a woman like that?
right.
But I also love, like I said, I also love how he tries to like save her and help
Yeah,
her in the first half and stuff like that. But the funny thing is that she whenever he wants to come to her rescue, she
yeah,
plays very sort of callous with how he acts towards her,
right.
and that really goes into, like you said, the ignorant thing, the
Yeah,
ignorant side of it. It's like you just read the tea leaves, like
yeah, yeah,
there is
yeah. Geez, man.
something there that
Yeah,
but yeah, Carol Baker is just I mean, let me ask you this. Out of the let's just take the four Lenzi ones, to be fair, because we're talking about Lenzi. um
okay.
is this is this your favorite performance by Carol Baker in a Lenzi film?
I would say it's a tie with orga with Orgasmo. Yeah, my
Right.
actual favorite Lindsay Baker film is the like third one, Hired and to Kill or Paranoia. Uh, it's also called like that's my favorite of their
Mm,
you know uh collaborations, but performance wise, she hits her marks really great in the first two.
right. Right. No, I mean, Paranoia is. I mean, I haven't seen it in like forever, so I should probably rewatch it at some point. But Paranoia is a very good movie as well, for sure. Um, I think if I would give like a favorite performance, I think I would agree with you that it would have to be Orgasmo. Um, because I've always felt that Orgasmo, and this is just me, but I always felt like Orgasmo was probably the high water mark of those four. For me anyway. So, but yes, he does really great in it. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, she gives great performances in all of these movies, honestly. So, yeah, it's really great. And in a way, I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to see more of her in the Italian sort of cinema.
Yeah.
So what I mean, because she did those 5 giallos, I believe.
Yeah, oh well, wait, like she did 6 actually, or 7, I believe. She did like one in Spain.
Oh right, yes.
The like 7th victim, I think, or so. It was either the like victim or 7th victim or
Oh yes,
something.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she did one with George Hilton and Stephen Boyd.
Mm.
Boyd, like yeah, but like she spent like I think like 10 years in Italy, so.
Yeah, no, I forgot about the 7th victim. That's a pretty good one as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a shame that she didn't stick around longer. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have loved to see her in like 1 or 2 or maybe 3 like Poliziotteschi films or whatever. But
oh yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, at least we got these movies, so there's that to be grateful for. But I would have loved if her career in Italy was bigger.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, and it's like honestly a shame. It wasn't because she had no issues, especially with the like note scenes. I mean, like she was incredibly like proud of her body and ashamed of it. So I mean, like, and that's really what kind of like brought her up in like my estimation. And that she wasn't afraid to take her clothes off.
Right. Well, that's always a thing that I find so funny now, especially nowadays. It's almost like I said this a while back when I did another stream with another YouTuber, but I said to her basically, and she kind of agreed with me that like we seem to be going back to to an era of like a kind of prudeness in movies almost. Not just with violence, but with nudity as well. And I'm not saying that like I'm not saying that it has to be sexist or whatever. I mean, it's like I'm very much against physical or mental abuse towards women in that way. So
of course.
I don't. Have you ever seen Game of Thrones or not?
No. I only got HBO very briefly at one time, and that was I believe either when the show was on hiatus or before it started. So.
Okay, fair enough. No, but there is, especially in season 1 of that show, there are scenes where it actually becomes we dubbed it sex position.
Oh, okay. Oh boy.
And it's very rough. So I'm not condoning that kind of stuff, but just the whole notion that we have become so censorship sensitive towards everything. And it's like, and when you look at like movies like this, or movies in general in the 70s or 80s or whatever, nudity was just part of the whole thing, and nobody ever made a really big deal out of it, at least not that I think of anyway. And again, look, I'm not like Harvey Weinstein, terrible person.
Horrible.
I'm not condoning any of that stuff, any of it. I'm not condoning any of it. But I mean, it's funny. My old history teacher, in high school always used to tell me that nudity is not just a part of art, but nudity is a part of history.
Yeah.
And that's how I think that's how you should look at it. And you know, and the fact that there is nudity in these movies, that was just the movies were made back then.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's just a part of the process. And it's not like nude scenes are like comfortable or whatever, but
yeah.
I never heard anyone having any issues with, you know, being nude in a movie like that. So that's just me.
Oh yeah. You know, I mean, the only time I was ever like really uncomfortable watching a foreign film was the first time I viewed this French thriller from Claude Chabrol. It was called Innocent with Dirty Hands. It had like Romy Schneider and Rod Steiger.
Oh,
yeah. In it, and towards the end, Steiger's character suffers a heart attack. Schneider goes off to find help for him, and the guy who she originally teamed up with, like to kill him, he shows up again. She tries to convince him to help her, and he, tears open the door to the car, and he starts, jumping on top of her, and that was like my only freak out moment, because I think it was the first time I actually saw an attempted rape happen on camera.
Right. Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, that's what I always say. I mean, there is a difference between exploitative nudity and artistic nudity, and that's where I see the difference.
Yeah.
And look, I'm a big defender of Last House on House on the Edge of the Park, Ruggiero Deodato.
Yeah.
There are many sort of rape kind of scenes in that film, but it's all part of the story. It's part of the narrative, how the story is told.
It's like not done for the shock's sake.
Right. No, it's for the story. It serves the story. But there, like I said, there is a difference between exploitative nudity and artistic nudity.
Yeah.
And I feel like the especially like now that we're talking about the Giallos of Lenzi, the nudity in these Giallos made by Lenzi, it's all artistic nudity.
Yes, it is. Fully.
And I have absolutely no problem with that whatsoever.
Same here. I'm all for it.
Yeah. And like you said, Carroll Baker never had an issue with it as well. So good on her. Honestly, good for her. But yeah, Carroll Baker. I mean, I feel like we could talk about Carroll Baker for another hour. But so I would like to continue to another positive that I have. And that is the score of this movie, because I really love the soundtrack of this. I'm a big fan of Riz Ortolani. He did the soundtrack for Don't Torture a Duckling, of course, Cannibal Holocaust. He has made some really great soundtracks, and his music here is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful, because I think he's really great at creating these sort of misleading romantic themes throughout the film, which works very well, because it almost feels like he wanted the music to be the narrator almost in a certain way. Does that make sense? And do you agree with that? How do you feel about the music?
Oh yeah. I mean, I haven't seen too many films with Ortolani scores. Like so far, it's been this and Day of Anger.
Oh yeah, Day of Anger. Yeah.
Yeah. but I'm like, he's like, but he is really good. I think he was the first Italian composer to actually win a Grammy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, might very well be. Yeah, that might very well be. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, because he did a song for one of the Mondo Cane films,
Right.
and that ended up taking off. Several artists recorded it. Yeah. I mean, I dig his music a lot. I mean, and I don't think his score does help out uh, the film a lot.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. No, I agree. And by the way, Day of Anger has a great score as well.
yeah, it
Really,
does.
really great score. Day of Anger. That's really great. Yeah. No, I mean the soundtrack works very well. And to go along with that, I will give my last positive of this. To go along with that, the cinematography is mesmerizing.
Yeah,
It's so beautiful. It's so beautifully shot. Most of the scenes are taken in Paris, of course. Most of the film takes place in Paris, but it's actually shot in Paris as well. And that really helps to sell the story, I feel like.
yeah,
And it works very well with Ortolani's music for telling the story, because I think it goes into the whole theme of masquerading beauty,
yeah.
with underlying sort of things. So, how do you feel about the cinematography in contrast with the music?
You're like, oh yeah, like Paris has never looked better. I thought, in a film, seeing that, I'm like that, that, yeah, and yeah, I do think Yogi got some pretty cool herrings when you contrast the music and the image.
Right. No, absolutely, absolutely,
And
yeah.
it's like, yeah, I do think it works pretty good.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. It works. I think it works pretty good as well. Absolutely, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, those were pretty much all of my positives. Do you have more positives or things that you praise about this film?
Well, Carol Baker, especially, for me is great,
Oh, so good.
and I also like her in that's because near the end she actually shows she's much smarter than her accomplice Hans, because she knows a certain cop knows, and he is gonna dog the hell out of them until somebody uh, cracks. I mean, she's hinting it might be her who caves in the long run, but but like she's the only one who knows that it's gonna end badly for her at some uh, uh, point, because this one cop, he's not gonna give up, or he knows the truth. It's just going to take him a while to prove it.
Right. Well, and I mean,
Yeah,
she is going to suffer the consequences eventually, because
yeah,
that's a moment I really do love. Is like when the plane takes off, and
yeah,
then the cop is sitting in the back, like
yeah.
he's coming for you, So eventually, she's
Yeah.
going to get what she deserves, but we don't get to see that. But that's a really good moment as well. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm like that moment actually saved the film from being entirely disappointing. In that twist, and then extended thing. So so for me at least, I like that. I like that. Plane scene kind of helped it out a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, that helps a lot. Absolutely. Maybe it should have come sooner, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, like I said, we can talk about Carol Baker for another hour probably, but so good. But but do you have like more positive things about So Sweet So Perverse?
Well, it's interesting. It kind of has this like a high society vibe to it, and yet there's this couple who's everything but that this whole group of people wants to actually be. I mean, they're like wives, like cold to the husband. The husband's like forced to kind of search out, and it goes like to the point he ends up sleeping with like a friend's wife, and then he like finds himself in a world of a mess, and I like this like just kind of like they like like sticking it like into the upper echelon types.
Right. Yeah. No, that's. I mean, well, I feel like all of these Lenzi Giallos are taking part in that world. The rich elite. So to speak.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, I mean, it's very well known that like that's a lot of social commentary that Lenzi wanted to give.
Yeah.
But I do feel, however, that in other movies it works better.
Yeah.
Like I think, for example, if we talked about Orgasmo, I mean, in Orgasmo you can really see the rich elite and stuff, and that sort of thing. So I think it works slightly better in his other films, but it's definitely present here for sure. Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is. So yeah, and it's also like there is also, of course, a little bit thing of like the rich are corruptible and stuff, and which goes much more into play in his other giallos again, but it is present here in a certain way. So yeah. So I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say myself for So Sweet So Perverse. Do you have like any final thoughts on So Sweet So Perverse?
Actually, I was actually surprised how well the chemistry between Trintignant and Baker worked.
Right.
Because they are opposites. I mean, like you have Trintignant who's got this almost like a constant poker face on him, and here's a very like lively and emotionally vibrant Carroll Baker, and it's like I mean, I know opposites I'm like opposites attract, and it's kind of like unknown what like makes somebody fall in love. But I mean, like these two just couldn't be more opposite of each other, and yet the chemistry works.
It works very well. It works absolutely well because you get she creates the illusion that she also starts to have feelings for him, of course.
Right.
So she plays with that very well, and I think a lot of that comes from the casting, because if you're making a movie that has like a couple like this, like two main protagonists, it is very important that the actors have chemistry. And so I imagine I think I imagine that Lenzi had a very long sort of casting round, a casting session for this movie, because that whole thing only works if you have two actors who absolutely are committed to each other, basically, right? So I think a lot of that is in the casting as well. And again, kudos to Lenzi for that, because he made the right choice for those two, absolutely. Because they have very good chemistry there, absolutely. So, but I mean, wouldn't Carroll Baker have good chemistry with anyone?
True. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. By the way, she's still going strong because she is still alive.
Yeah, she is.
I think she's like 92 or whatever.
Something like that. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know what it is, but well done. It's you're still there. I mean, she's probably not acting anymore, but it's I mean, still going strong. So it's great. Yeah. So do you have anything else to say about So Sweet, So Perverse?
I'm good. I mean, I think we dissected it down to its marrow.
I think we did a pretty good job there. And I think we can dissect Carroll Baker all day, but it's no, I think we did a pretty good job at analyzing this film. So yeah, I think we can go into ratings again. I would actually want to let you start, because here's the thing, and this I'm thinking about this afternoon. I'm really contemplating what rating to give.
Oh, all right.
So I will let you go first, so I can give it a moment to process. Okay.
Okay. I do like this film. I mean, it's my least favorite of the four Lenzi Baker films, but I mean, I still love it. I mean, I just I can't get past that there was something better in the works with the script. I still don't know if it was somebody just scared to death to take the chance, or just it was studio interference. But I mean, it's a good film, but it could have been so much better. So and but I mean, there's also still a whole lot to like about it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to be as fair as I can get, and I'm going to give this film a solid 7. I nearly went a 6.5, but I mean, just Carroll Baker, she really elevates this thing above. So I added an extra point or two, so it's a 7 out of 10.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's fair. That's very fair, I feel like. So a 7. Okay. So here's the thing. I think I agree with you. Overall, I really enjoy this film and I really like it. The thing that I keep running into, though, is that like you said, this movie could have been so much better. And the issues that, well, both of us have, the issues that I have are really big and are really sticking out. So that makes it really hard for me to enjoy it on a level of, for example, Orgasmo or whatever, or whatever you want to. And look, I get it. This is Lenzi's second or third Giallo, so he's very new in the genre. I just think he did a lot better. He did a lot better work later on in the same genre. If I look at things like Spasmo or Oasis of Fear, I mean, those two movies are infinitely better than this one, I feel like. So, and maybe there is a kind of Dario Argento thing about it, that this was like very early on in his Giallo career.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are really like serious problems in the script and the narrative.
Yeah.
That honestly, I feel like Lenzi could have tackled, because he is such a capable director. And like you said, maybe it was studio interference. That might very well be possible. But I just have very mixed emotions and feelings in a lot of this movie. And there are a lot of things to love here. There are a lot of positives. And like you said, especially Carroll Baker really elevates this to an extent. But it's overall, I have to be honest, overall, it's kind of a mixed bag for me. Especially on rewatching it. So I was the same as you. I was contemplating between a 6.5 and a 7.
Yeah.
So we are kind of on the same level there.
Okay.
I think, and this has nothing to do with Carroll Baker, because Carroll Baker is phenomenal. We have talked about it at great length already. Carroll Baker is phenomenal. But the one question that I keep asking myself is, for me anyway, can she save this movie? And to me, as good as she is, I don't think she can save it in the end. So I'm a bit lower than you, and I'm going to give So Sweet, So Perverse a 6.5 out of 7.
Okay, well, that's totally fine.
So it's I mean, it's very interesting. I think the first time I watched this movie, I think I gave it a 7.5.
Okay.
But rewatching it a couple more times, like I said, the issues that we discussed are really showing their face, and it's just it really is a bummer, and and as much good things as there are here, I just ultimately, I think Lenzi made better Giallos, honestly. So again, 6.5. It's a decent Giallo. It's a decent movie.
Yeah.
But there are
problems.
There are certainly problems. So 6 and like I said, 6.5. That's my rating. So a little bit lower than yours, 6.5. And but to be honest, this was my most difficult rating to give up until this point.
Oh, all right.
Because because like you said, especially Carroll Baker, it just Carroll Baker just has a certain flavor, and a certain aesthetic, that I really love. But I just have to be honest, and that's what it is. So 6.5. But those were the movies that we were going to talk about. I feel like, by the way, I do feel like a 7 is very fair, though. It's very fair. But those were the movies that we were going to talk about. So as usual, I want to ask you like a final question before I let you go. And this is going to be an interesting one, because we already talked about how we feel about Umberto Lenzi and what he represents for us as a director and stuff. But if you are starting to discover the Euro-Italian cinema, this question is like twofold, kind of. If you are starting in this industry, in this era, cinema, whatever you want to call it, is Umberto Lenzi really the correct and the proper place to start discovering these movies? And if yes or no, what movies of his would you recommend to new audiences? So A and B.
All right. Well, I mean, I think in terms of accessibility, he's probably better to start with because he is very audience friendly, but he also does like to add what he thinks is important in, I actually equate him with Melville in this because Melville could put what was important to him into his films so seamlessly that you would actually start thinking about that stuff afterwards. So I think on like that level, he's probably better to start with because he's audience friendly and he can be built upon to view
Right.
other people. People, and in terms of his films, I would say, Giallo wise, I actually still need to see Spasmo. I've
Okay.
been looking for, and I've been looking for and dashing at that like crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
Crazy. So, but like I would say, any of his Baker Giallis are good to start with. Like maybe an ideal place to kill, aka Aces of Fear. For his Eurocrime, I would say like the tough ones, is his best one. I mean, if like you got to start anywhere, but I'm going to start with the well liked one.
Okay, interesting. I'm gonna first I'm gonna answer B, and then I'm gonna answer A. So in terms of movies, I would agree with you that I would probably start with the Lenzi Baker Giallos, because I think they're more accessible in terms of like there isn't as much like explicit like violence in them.
Right.
So in that way, they're more accessible. There is also not as much sort of like rapey stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they're more accessible to use as a springboard into the Giallo genre. It's very like
right.
it has a sort of easy flow to it. You
Right.
can get into it. So that in terms of Poliziotteschi's, or Eurocrime, I would actually suggest Syndicate Sadists because because I feel like the same as Giallo, the Baker Giallos, I feel like Syndicate Sadist is such a it's almost as if Lenzi held back with that one. It is a very tame Poliziotteschi.
Oh, all right.
In terms of, I mean, don't you agree with that, or?
I actually still need to see it. I have like such a backlog,
Okay.
of stuff, to watch. It is still up there. I mean, I don't know why I've been hesitant to see it, but I have for some reason.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting watch because like Thomas Milian for the first time I think plays an actual like pure hero good guy.
Oh, all right.
In that one, his character is called Rambo. I'm sure you know that story. Yeah. But it's also it's a very laid back. I mean, it's a very tame Poliziotteschi. Like there isn't a lot of violence in there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more lighthearted. So I would say probably start with that one when you talk about Eurocrime. But as for A, like should you start with Lenzi? I think I agree with you. He's probably the best choice to get into the Italian European cinema because I think because if you look at other Giallo directors, for example, let's take Lucio Fulci, for example. When you watch Don't Torture a Duckling, for example, which is one of my favorite movies, Giallo-wise and Lucio Fulci-wise. I love Don't Torture a Duckling. Hopefully we'll talk about that at some point in the future. But watching Don't Torture a Duckling, it's a very rough film. That it deals with very rough subjects, and it goes very deep. And those kind of giallos are not really I feel like are not really suitable for people who are just starting out, starting and getting into this stuff. I feel like you should save that for a bit later. So, and like I said, Lenzi has a bit of more of a pulpy vibe to it. Like I said, for the big audiences, popcorn entertainment. It's much more. I feel like his movies you can get into much easier than, for example, a Deodato film or an Argento film or whatever. I would probably agree with you. I would probably start with Lenzi, and start with the movies that I talked about. And and Lenzi has a very big movie catalog.
Yeah, he does.
You can just pick and choose whatever you want from that. So, you can spend a whole year just only watching Lenzi movies. So there's a lot to choose from. So I would probably agree with you that Lenzi is the best choice. But a final question, would you consider, because a lot of people have the pyramid, the top 5, right? You have Argento and all of those people. Would you actually categorize Umberto Lenzi in the top tier?
Top 10 definitely.
Okay, top 10.
Because his output's good, but I think he's just a little too commercial for the top 5. Bob was a top 5 because he could do both.
Right. No, I agree with that. He's not going to make the top 5 for sure, or the top 6, but no, I could see him in the top 10 for sure. No, absolutely, So Umberto Lenzi, very interesting director. He did some really great stuff. I'm sure in the future we can do a volume 2 of this, because I said, Umberto Lenzi has made 30 movies or whatever. So there's plenty to choose from. But for now, these were the movies that we were going to talk about. And it's a very interesting director and very interesting films to talk about. So I think it's time we close this stream off now. As usual, I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. Thank you, Stephen, for attending this once again. It's always really great to have you here. I hope your package arrives soon. I'm not sure when it's gonna arrive, but I hope it will be soon. It's been great to have you here. Where can people find you?
Of course, my channel is TVNASH. Here at YouTube. So just check me out there.
Yeah, check him out and give him a like or subscribe to his channel, because you do great stuff. So there you go. But again, thanks for being here, and I'm sure we'll do something in the near future anyway. And to everyone who has been watching, again, thank you for watching, for listening. Have a good weekend. I will be back with more videos as soon as possible, of course, and streams. Stay safe and healthy as always. Have a good weekend, and I will see and talk to everyone later. And Stephen will be in touch about a lot. So,
Okay, bud.
Thank you for being here, and see you, bud.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. See ya. Bye, bud.
See ya.